According to the U.S. Air Force, the first B-21 Raider stealth bombers could be ready for combat as early as next year, at least if the pressing need arose. Now, just recently, the Air Force announced its plans to nearly double its investment into the B-21 program for 2026, with $5.8 billion already earmarked for B-21 production and refinement, but now another $4.5 billion aimed at ramping up Northrop Grumman's production capacity for these bombers. This week, Air and Space Forces magazine, the official publication of the Air Force Association, reported that Northrop Grumman expects to have 2 bombers conducting test flights in 2026, and that these aircraft are already so close to their final production configuration that they could quickly be transitioned into service if they were needed. Now, the more you know about aircraft testing and production, the crazier this starts to sound. Usually, test article aircraft are pretty bare-bones platforms, often lacking most of the mission systems required for actual combat operations because, well, the focus of the testing regime is placed pretty squarely on the nuts and bolts of flight. But because the B-21 underwent such extensive virtual testing in digital environments before production ever began, and because it benefits from more than 1,000 hours of avionics flight testing in an undisclosed testbed aircraft, Northrop Grumman was able to start building these bombers in what we now know is very close to the aircraft's final operational form. Onboard avionics suite and all. Now, when John Turpak, the editor-in-chief of Air and Space Forces magazine, asked the Air Force directly about test article B-21s being ready for combat, an unnamed Air Force official told him it would really just be a matter of removing the nose boom and some other testing instrumentation and then just sending them into the fight. And as John pointed out, that really could point toward the possibility of the B-21 reaching initial operating capability or limited operational service in a matter of months rather than years, as most official timelines have pointed toward the end of the decade as the tentative service date for these new bombers. But it is important to remember that just because the Air Force could put these bombers into operation that soon doesn't necessarily mean that they will. Now, bombers like the B-21 are seen as strategic assets, as opposed to fighters, even advanced ones, which are usually considered to be tactical assets. Tactical assets are used to achieve immediate battlefield-level effects, or to help you win an individual battle, but strategic assets support nation-level objectives, often targeting the most secure, protected, and important facets of an adversary force. Or, to put it another way, a handful of advanced stealth fighters might help you win a fight, but a handful of advanced stealth bombers could help you win a war, delivering more ordnance further into contested airspace than any other platform could, wiping out senior leadership, vital infrastructure, or military-industrial capacity along the way. Of course, the B-21 isn't just a bomber. This aircraft is equipped with the most advanced ISR suite ever installed in a combat aircraft, which can not only allow the B-21 to start and complete entire kill chains on its own, or identify targets on the fly, track and engage them, and then assess their own strikes, but it can also serve as a high-flying, extremely stealthy spy plane, or battlefield coordinator, controlling AI-enabled drones and supporting crewed fighters through its intelligence and targeting capabilities. But the one criticism I see most often about the B-21 in the comments under my videos is its reduced payload capacity as compared to the B-2. But this narrative was largely born out of Chinese media and is based on an exaggeration of an already unconfirmed report about the bomber's payload capabilities. Now, it's been estimated by credible analysts that the B-21's official payload will be listed as 30,000 pounds, but several Chinese propaganda outlets have fudged that number down to 20,000, and we've since seen some less reputable Western outlets cite their reporting in Western news coverage. So now might be a good time to remind you that the Air Force officially states that the B-2 Spirit can carry a maximum payload of 40,000 pounds, but 7 B-2s carrying 60,000 pounds worth of GBU-57 bunker busters each recently flew all the way from Missouri to Iran and back to carry out strikes against the nation's nuclear facilities. So, I would take whatever you hear about these bombers' payload capabilities with a pretty hefty helping of salt. Now, the Air Force intends to buy at least 100 of these advanced bombers, but discussions are already underway about expanding that order to 145.